guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting, coming to you today with another episode of Stoned As Adventures. I'm just driving out to the Blacktop Tablelands and going to do some hiking and filming around there, which will be really, really cool. I think it's really beautiful out there, and I'm pretty excited to get back out there. I haven't been out there for, I'd say, like a good 6 months or so since I've been out there, and it's a beautiful stretch of like tablelands and mountains that is just so beautiful. So I hope I can get you some good shots, which will be pretty exciting. And yeah, so pretty much like when I'm walking, when I'm driving, I have some pretty wild conversations. So I love to just think about and talk about different things, and I get really inspired by the landscape around me. Just especially when I'm coming out into the country, like it's just so absolutely beautiful out here. All this farmland and bushland. So like, yeah, it really inspires me and sort of helps me personally to get back in that awe of life, where you're like inspired and grateful about every little aspect of life. And that's sort of what I see when I like to go out on these trips or these adventures, hiking and stuff like that, and camping, is like it's sort of a spiritual pilgrimage for me. So like it's about getting rid of all the stuff or the thoughts that I've been accumulating in society, and all the negative influence I've taken in, and it's sort of about just washing that away and getting back out into like a quiet space in my mind where I'm not worried about all the different things that could be happening or that may be happening, or worried about what other people think of me. So it really helps me to ground myself when I'm getting out into nature and out into the country. It's just something about being somewhere you're not, like you don't know. Like you couldn't point on a map exactly where you are. It's sort of like your worries can't find you if you don't know where you are. That's how I like to think about it. But no, it's just something about when you're out in, like how I like to put it is, when you're out in like the wilderness or somewhere like unknown terrain, you sort of get to discover and sort of unshackle who you thought you were. So a fun thing is I always find that my thinking changes and becomes more liberated when I'm somewhere unknown. So like, you always want to know exactly where you are so that you can get yourself out of any situations, but generally speaking, you don't have to be concerned with where you are right now. You just can be. And that's one of the things that I personally seek to like embody in life, is just being present in the moment, in any moment. Like being like present where I am. So while I'm driving, I'm present in the drive. I'm not concerned with where I'm going. Where I'm going is just a feeling. So like I'm thinking and focusing on all the different hazards and the scenery around me, and sort of it's a liberating feeling that I struggle to find when I'm like in like routine in a 9 to 5, like caught up in life. sensory organs in our body are built to experience, which leads me to believe that experience is the number one, not meaning, but aspect of life. Our whole life revolves around experience. So like, as I like to say, I like to just be in flow, doing, without thought. So, like I just got an idea today that, I needed to get some camera equipment, and then I said to myself, if I get that camera equipment, I'll come out and do some filming, which is pretty good, because I really enjoy it, because like essentially what I try to capture is that state of flow. And the funny thing is the more I've learned about spirituality and personal development and consciousness and the human mind and life and the universe, is that state of flow is that state of random. So one really funny thing that I always think of within myself is like the place I seek to be is that random flow of action. And like the funny thing is that that's the ground basis for life, is randomness. So when we're in the flow of life, we're in that flow of randomness, where we're just taking actions that feel right, that make us smile. Like every time I drive in a direction that I don't know, like I can't help but to smile, because it's sort of like life's beginning. Like when we try to structure, especially within me, when I try to structure my life and what I do and all of this, like so like rigidly, like I cease to live, I cease to be inspired, and that's personally every day, that's what I seek to feel is inspired. So I'm always chasing, inspiration. And the funny thing is the inspiration is in the smallest things in life. So it's not like the big things that make you inspired, but it's all these little things, like how green the grass is, like how sweet the air smells, like how vibrant the flowers are on the trees. Like, it's sometimes hard in summer, because in Queensland it is an oppressive summer, so you gotta sort of find the other edge of the blade. So you gotta be happy about the environment that you're in. And that's one thing that I really try and do, is find inspiration in my environment. So I always seek to change my environment and go new places. Like the idea of being somewhere for a long period of time just makes me feel trapped. Like there's so much to experience in life and so much happening in life, yet I'm stuck here just experiencing what I already know. And it's sort of like, when I think like that, it just lights a fire under me, because when you're laying, this is how I look at it, when I'm laying on my deathbed, nothing will matter but the experiences I've felt, because they're the only things that are going to play through my mind. So my goal in life is to have the most rich, experiential life at my end of life, that I get to live again. But the other thing I realized is, and this is really funny, so when we think about time and the passage of time, when we're having fun, time flies, and when we're miserable, time extends. And the reason for this is because when we're miserable, we're looking to escape what we're doing, so we're more conscious of the passage of time. Okay, just like when we're like excited and happy and joyful about what we're doing, we're so engorged and focused in on that activity that we cease to notice the passage of time. So what I realized is, if you want to have a long, happy life, in the context of you want to feel like your life has been an eternity, right, without any additional time, like passage of time, okay, what you have to do is you have to make conscious actions to pull yourself into the present moment and experience the passage of time. And what that does is that sort of recenters you to, understanding that, there was a morning, a midday, and a night. Because we're not just remembering for the day something that happened in the morning and then all the rest is forgotten. So, that's one of the things that really excites me about just being in the ebb and flow of the actions of life, where you're drawn and pulled to, is like when I'm present in that moment, like I feel the passage of time in a positive sense, that I'm finally living how I want to live, doing what I want to do. And it's so funny because for my entire life I was led to believe that like you always had to be productive with your time, you always had to be working, like I left school at the end of year 9 and went straight into full-time employment and just worked. So while my peers were at school, like I spent a good 3 or 4 years working, building skills and sort of progressing my career while they were in school. So like it's really funny because like I just had this belief that I always had to be better than other people and compete with other people to feel secure. I had to be better than other people so that I was more valuable in the work sense, which wasn't a bad thing because it taught me a lot of discipline and a lot of like how to build drive and stuff like that. I succeeded a lot, but the problem is that I wasn't aware when I was younger. Not many people were aware, in the early 2000s about like psychology and how all of that, and beliefs and how all of that impacts us in the future. So like I've come to this point in my life where like I will always choose to exert maximum effort towards my goals, but I get to choose what maximum means. So like I don't really care what other people think is a good effort. Like I'll tell myself what a good effort is, and it's taken me so long to do that. And the problem is for me personally, it was really difficult because I was always trying to live up to other people's expectations, even if they hadn't put expectations on me, which meant I was always miserable, because even if I live up to their expectations, what they want isn't what I want. So like, for example, in life, like I don't really care about money. Like, yeah, I think of money like water. If you're not thirsty and you're fully hydrated and you've got 10 liters of water is meaningless to you. If you're dehydrated and you haven't had any water in days, it's everything to you. So like the key thing is that money's one of those things that it's a resource in life. So it's like, it's how we barter and trade for things and how we purchase things. But you should have no emotional attachment to money. Like, why do I want to care about making money? Shouldn't I just care about doing what I enjoy doing and doing what I love? Like, why do I have to put a financial metric to it to feel successful and valuable? So like, and that's one thing I struggle with, because for me, especially in my own business, when I try and financially incentivize myself, I shut down, because I do things because because they're fun. I only do things that I enjoy. So the thing is I only want to do things in life that I perceive as being fun, for the point of I think that it's fun. Even in business. So the thing is, what I have to teach myself and understand and restructure my business around is doing the work for enjoyment, not financials. And for me personally, in my career in life, I don't want to work for money. I don't really care. I can generate money and I will generate money, but my motivation for working is because I enjoy helping people that I like. So the thing is that and I've been really, really tossing it up. If I had reached the pinnacle of my success, how would I treat the situation? How would I treat others? So if I had reached every achievement that I could imagine in my mind, do you really think, and this is what I ask myself, do you really think you would be charging people for your knowledge and help? And my answer is no. If I reached the pinnacle of my success, I would not have to charge people for my time or services. I would do it because I enjoy it and because it's something that I want to invest into. So for me, at the start of my sort of business's career, or my business's life cycle, I am choosing to take this decision to where, you can generate money, but in my business, the motivation that drives my business, and I've written on this and I have a thesis on this, and it's called A Business for Change, but it's just about having your fundamental reason and motivation for why you're in that business, or why you're, in that industry, as being something that isn't derived of income, or personal advantage. I get the best feeling when I can help someone solve their problems. I truly enjoy it. And many times throughout my career in sales, I have burnt bridges when people have told me to go against this, and I smile about it and I just say, look, if you want me to go against my fundamental core beliefs every day of the week, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. I have zero problem, because who I am, and this is an important thing to me personally, but I'm very honor driven. I have a saying, honor before death. I choose death before going against my honor. You know what I mean? So before I go against and break those ideals or those values that I uphold. Like I would choose death every day of the week. So if someone tries to, coerce me, which many employers do, especially, really bad employers, especially in sales, like, one piece of information that I can give you to sort of sum it up is when I worked in RTO sales, which is registered training organisations. This was a full scam organisation, and I was very early in my sales career, but basically when you get the question when you're selling education, how retarded is too retarded to sign someone up for a course? In that meeting, in that moment, I walked out and decided that was not the place for me. When we're having to decide, like, how capable is the minimum standard? Like, can we lower it, the minimum standard, so we can just get more sales? Like, seriously. So, like, that's the thought process and the mentality of, like, many businesses, is like, how can we push more people into getting our products and selling our, buying our products? So many business owners want you to push extra, products or unnecessary products onto consumers. And in those moments, I tell them no. And if they've got a problem with it, they can choose to either fight me or, they can say whatever they want to say. But, like, I'm going to choose to fight them before I go against my values. Like, I don't manipulate or rip people off. Like, fuck that. Anyone that says to do that, you just swift headbutt and make them eat those words. But that's one of the funny things, especially, like, that I observed working in sales, is like there's no such thing as ethics. Like, your ethics encompass what you're willing to justify to yourself. So, like, there's no, like, universal ethics. It's just some people are willing to skew the data more favorably, towards their desired outcome, and they're willing to manipulate the situation, lie, cheat, steal, to get what they want to get. And it's so funny because, like when I got into sales, like, I wanted to be the best. So, like, I spent, 2 or 3 years just studying sales and psychology to understand, like, human behavior and understand people's thought processes. And, like, yeah, it's just so sad to see, because it's so easy. If I lie, cheat and steal, I can be successful overnight. That's how majority of, not the successful people, but majority of people that get successful quick, in the terms of, like, they don't put in the hard work, typically they either lie, cheat or steal to get where they are, So you got to be aware of those people, because, they fake competency, and, that's what we look for, especially in business and in life, is we're all looking for competent people to listen to, that'll give us either new information, or that might give us new perspective and things like that. But the problem is there's so many fucking idiots that are full of shit. And mate, do I hate them? Because they just, like, and it's not like, yeah, there are some predatory people that, look to manipulate and mislead people, to get advantage out of them. But to the majority of them, it's because they learn a little bit, and then they just close their mind off to any other possibility or alternative, And it's like, mate, you sound like a donkey. So like, for example, like with, you know, like when we think about God and stuff like that, you know, by default, every religion is correct in their assumption of God. But the downfall is, where they're all wrong, is they assume they understand the form of a God. So it's like, yeah, by default you're right, but you're still a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like, we try to embody our deity as being someone of likeness to us, but like, if there is a God, God is life, everything. God is the universe. God is, you know, the biggest and the smallest of things. So like, there is no one form. God would be all forms, simultaneously and individually. Like, and that's the funny thing, is throughout our history, like if you look back into our history, like we haven't gone 10 years without a war or a conflict. And majority of these wars and conflicts have been justified by religious or like, you know, yeah, pretty much religious beliefs about one religion being superior to another, one belief being superior to another, one race, one culture, like, and it's so funny because it's all fundamentally based around some dickheads getting into power and then fucking misleading everyone, and then, you know, because we've been going along with it for so long, no one really questions it. Like, don't get me wrong, when I was a teenager, mate, from when I was 5 until when I was like 22, I was obsessed with the military. I was going to the military and I was going into the infantry, and I was just going to kill everyone that wasn't Australian or wasn't in any alliance with Australia. That was my goal in life because of the conditioning from the movies and the TV and, you know, the different, you know, sort of, not mentors, but figures I looked up to. Like, I just wanted to go to Afghanistan or Iraq. Like, I prayed for war to break out. I prayed to get in. And I just wanted to go and just kill them because they were different. Because all I was ever taught from movies, from TV, was when people are different to you. And especially, like, I went to Catholic schools and grew up, you know, down to Catholic schools and having to put up with religion. But, like, when you're ingrained for so long about other people being different and you should fear and hate different people, because this is like, look at every war, look at every conflict, look at every division in life. People get in and they point out things about the opposite side that are derived to cause fear. And with some of the population, fear causes obedience. With other portions of the population, fear breeds hatred and anger. Like, look, I'm not saying 9/11 was an inside job, but if you look at recruitment numbers, pre-9/11, they were quite low. 9/11 hits, everyone's signing up to go and fight the enemy. The thing is that, like, in life, we're being manipulated. Well, this is at least what I came to find, is that we're being manipulated into being categorized as just being specific types of people. And that's what's so good about Hollywood, is it's easy to categorize people and to box them. The same with all these social media platforms, because we can just give you the content that you like and we'll just reinforce your beliefs. And it's really important because, like, throughout my life, like, I've been very into psychology and the mind, and, you know, I learn at an early age through, experimenting with myself about behavioral conditioning. So using specific behavioral markers or cues over a long period of time to condition new behavior. So basically, what I used to do is I used to listen to specific music when I would train. So because I listened to specific music when I would train, every time I put that music on, my brain would start firing off as if I'd started training. So I would be instantly brought into the mood. But also with sleep, I can listen to specific tones or specific, like I used to listen to theoretical physics to go to sleep, just because I always wanted to be learning. And I find theoretical physics fascinating because theoretically anything is possible, and it's like, how can you bring it from your mind into reality? But we got to understand that the information and the environmental stimuli that we surround ourselves with will, to some degree, condition our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. So you just have to be aware of this, because while for the most part it's not a bad thing, so it could be like, if you wanted to condition someone's behavior, like let's say a spouse, and you wanted to, let's say you wanted your boyfriend to wash up the dishes more often. Like, what you would do is you would condition in positive responses to them taking that action. So you would position the offer of like, hey, do you mind doing the dishes, as like, hey, if you could get the dishes done, like when you're finished, come into the bedroom and there'll be something, a surprise or something like that. Like you put the dishes as an obstacle to the desired outcome that they want, and they have to go through that to receive it, rather than just putting it as a challenge or an obstacle that they now have to go and do. So it's in understanding that, because then we can use different kinds of stimuli. So for example, you condition in the behavior of, at a specific time you present that offer, and you make it so that the likelihood of that offer being accepted, whatever it may be, is quite high. Because you want something from them, so you've got to give something in return. And it doesn't have to be like, like so many people treat it as it has to be 50-50, equal. No, it's like every time I want something for you, the path of least resistance is if I give you something that you find valuable, well, of course you're going to do what I want you to do. Like if I position that as being required to get this. So, like, what we're able to do is then when we've built in the habit of, let's say, every night or something like that, you wait about 2 weeks for the habit to sort of be ingrained, the behavior, and then what you do is you start removing that conversation, and then every time the action is taken, you positively reinforce it. Okay, and what this does is they don't understand, but every time they take this action, you have a positive surprise for them. So they'll start to want a new positive surprise. They'll want to, they'll want that, not engagement, but they'll want that dopamine rush, that release. So, that's one way that you can condition in, and it is a positive thing. But the other thing is it's also negative in the aspects of, if you just sit on Netflix or something like that and binge watch, let's say Game of Thrones, well, yeah, you're going to feel a whole lot more negative. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Game of Thrones, but you'll be exposing yourself to, snipiness, bitchiness, those remarks, like negative behaviors, infidelity, different things like that. Like me personally, that's one of the big things that I don't like, is how infidelity is so promoted in society. I think it's fucking ridiculous. Because like, yeah, I don't want to go and chuck on the TV and just watch cunts having sex. If I want to watch that, I'll go and watch fucking porn. If I watch a movie, like, I want to see connection. Like, that's one of the beautiful things about watching old movies from like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, is you see the progression of, you know, like, it progressed to just being crude, but like in the earlier years, like, they actually invested into the story. They got you engaged. Like, you know, they drew out every experience so that you got to, like, you know, feel it with the person. Like, and now it's just about like, oh, who can be as sleazy and sexy as possible. It's fucking stupid. Like, it's so stupid. It's like, it's why, like, I haven't been on Instagram in years. It's why I haven't been on, like, watching TV and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. When I was a teenager, when I was, you know, masturbating like 18, 20 times a day, like, I used to love that aspect of society. But the problem is it's crude. And it's so funny how it's like, you know, like, take for example, like, OnlyFans and that shit. Like, seriously. Like, what the fuck has gone on in society? Like, okay, why, as a man, would you pay to be a fucking member of a fucking girl who you're not going to sleep with just so you can see her naked? That is the most bitch-ass fucking pathetic shit I have ever heard. Like, what are you, fucking betas? Like, what is the point to seeing a girl naked if you're not going to fuck her? What is the point? What, so you can fucking bait to her and then brag about baiting to her? Like, seriously. And, like, don't get me wrong, many guys are delusional in thinking that they can get that girl. But why would you want a girl who wants so much attention from other dudes? Like, do you want to constantly have other dudes hitting on your girlfriend, and if the offer is good, she may take it up? No, not for me. Fuck that noise. Like, I don't see the interest in it. Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, if you like doing cam things, like, don't get me wrong, when I was 18, 19, I wanted to be a porn star until I learned how much men make out of it. And I didn't want to go into gay porn. Even though you can make more money, I'm not, like, I couldn't do gay porn. It's not something that I get into. So, like, but that's the thing, like, I used to want to be like a male escort and like, you know, and it wasn't because like I had a big ego, but it's because, like, sex meant nothing to me. Like, sex was like a sport. Like, all I ever wanted to do when I was younger, like, my entire life revolved around sex. Every decision I made, like, I'm pretty sure I had an addiction to sex. Like, and that's the funny thing, is I didn't care who it was with because I was there. You know what I mean? Like, I just cared because I was having sex. Like, I didn't give a fuck who with. Like, yeah, so, like, don't get me wrong, like, you know, I'm not speaking on this stuff because, like, I have no idea about it. Like, I used to want to be in that space. If OnlyFans was a thing when I was, like, 18, I would have been on it. Like, that was just my ambition. Because, like, you know, I just thought it was fun to build up the stamina to be able to fuck for, like, 4 hours. I think that's fun. You know what I mean? But the thing with sex, well, not even sex, but, like, the thing with porn is it's so fucking fake and over-exaggerated. Like, do you realise if it was real connection and real people having sex, it'd be fucking more kinky. But everyone's fucking trying to be the fucking best at sex. And they're just like, it's just fucking not believable. Like, when they're like, And the girls are so noisy. It's like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand if it's a requirement because the dudes think that like more dudes like a girl that screams like a donkey. But like, personally, if a girl's quiet and making like soft sounds, that is a much bigger turn on as a dude. Like, you know, like, yeah, fucking, like, who wants to be doing that? Imagine that. You're in like your parents for Christmas and you go to have some fun at like, you know, after dark, and then your parents, all they hear is ah, ah. Like, how fucking ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. That's why God gave us hands to cover their mouths. No, but like, you know, it's one of those things that I just personally don't get. Who the fuck wants to be on OnlyFans? Like, who thinks that's cool? Like, I don't get it. Like, you know, all I do is go onto a porn site and I can get everything for free because there's other dudes that go out and find it and post it. Like, why would I need to be on OnlyFans? To give you money so that you may one day think to fuck me? Like, who thinks like this? What a beta. Like, seriously. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I've always just had a belief that, like, if I can't have something, I don't want something. I only go after what I can have. You know, I don't really care. Like, when I was younger, like, man, I used to care so much about what other people thought of me. I was so concerned about it. Like, I only dated people I thought other people would think was attractive. So, like, I got into these fucking long-term relationships. Well, not even when I was younger, but, like, I would only date people, and the ones that I liked, I would never introduce to anyone I knew. Because, like, it was so funny. Like, and like, I can still remember being like that and just, like, so concerned with what other people thought about what I wanted. Because it doesn't fucking matter. Like, who the fuck cares? But everyone gets so up their ass and tries to compete and fucking outdo each other. Like, literally, the only girls I dated were girls that I thought would look good beside me, like, you know, in corporate events and shit like that would, you know, have a specific position, like, you know, that were very specific types. One of my types when I was younger was they had to hate me, who I was as a person. Yeah, that was funny. So, like, every girl I dated could not stand who I was and what I wanted. It was so funny because, like, I spent, like, you know, I'm like a stupid one. Like, I spent a stupid amount of time living those lives. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, it was fun, but, like, I spent so much of my life living someone else's life and being miserable. Like, not being happy with what I thought was good in life. Not being happy with what I thought was important in life. You know? Like, that's where, like, my misery came from, was, like, what I wanted in life, the people I wanted to be with, the person I wanted to be, the places I wanted to be. Every time I tried to have them, I never felt I deserved them, so I always felt like I had to have what other people wanted me to have and wanted me to do and things like that. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm a rebellious motherfucker. So, like, when I tell you that I did what other people wanted, this is, you know, 10-20% 90% of the time. The rest of the time, like, because I was unable to deal with who I wanted to be and live the life I wanted to live and value what I wanted to value, I would be stressed all the time. So I would always be like letting loose and getting loose, you know. And don't get me wrong, like, it was fun. Like, you know, from when I was 18 to when I was like 26, 27, like, all I did was party. Like, drinking, like, you know, MD, shrooms, acid, like, you know, just having so much fun, doing so much stuff. Like, I lived to be in the rave, to be in the middle of the dance floor, fucking cooked as a chook, you know. And that was what was fun, and it was a wild time, you know. But the problem is like, yeah, I just, like, it was always like I was escaping, you know. Like, it was fun to escape and let go of responsibility. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I worked and studied and built skills and I was very serious in my career, but like, outside of my career, like, I just let go to responsibility, you know. And it's a hard thing to sort of come back from when you have to rebuild that discipline. And that's the thing, like, the career and life, like, I was so obsessed with money. Because all I ever heard and all you ever saw from success was you had to be obsessed with money. So I had this negative attachment to money to where I was willing to do whatever it takes. I will break whatever relationship, like, whatever it takes to achieve that. But the thing is inside, I didn't give a fuck, you know. Like, every time I succeeded was because I just enjoyed what I was doing and was having fun. That's the thing, that every time, you know, I would try and recreate that, I would always be misled into believing that I had to focus on money and focus on success, when in truth, all I focus on is just having fun. Because if you're having the time of your life and you're having a ball, like, everyone that comes into contact with you is going to be like, you lift their mood, so they're all of a sudden having an amazing time. They now associate that amazing time with you. So this is the thing I learned when I was like 18, when I was learning how to pick up. Like, let's just say when I was growing up, I did not care about girls. Like, up until I was like 17, 18, like, all I cared about was skating, riding, like, music, and playing video games. That was pretty much it. Like, that's all I did. And like, and then one day, I don't know, like, I just and it used to be so funny because like, yeah, I just, like, when I was in high school, man, I once had a girlfriend and she sat next to me, and for 45 minutes I didn't say a word. I used to not be able to talk to girls. I couldn't talk to girls when I was younger. Because, like, I can talk to a girl if it's just a girl, but if she's dating me, like, I didn't know, like, what was I meant to say? So I just, like, sit there quietly. And it used to be so funny. Because, like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I didn't know how to react and stuff like that. So, like, when I was 16, 17, man, I was so awkwardly, like, it was funny. I was awkward. But, like, you know, like, girls would be, like, sending me signals and hitting on me, but, like, the way I put it is, like, you gotta you know, you think of an airport like LAX, like you got to put those lights on high beam, like you got to pretty much like spell it out in a loud voice in a megaphone to get through to me. So like it always used to be so funny because like my mates would see that the girls were into me and then they'd hit on them. And because I didn't know, like I wouldn't even notice, and then my mates would always be dating the girls that I liked. And I was like, dang it. And then like, yeah, so when I was like 18, like I had to teach myself, like I wanted to learn how to pick up. Like I wanted to be like a Casanova. You know, like a gentleman, you know, good with the ladies, like have strong honor, you know, be charming, aesthetically pleasing, articulate, you know, like cultured, well spoken, like a formidable person, someone that dominates any conversation they're in at will. So like, yeah, so like in learning to pick up and stuff like that, like I used to go out to the clubs, and for 2 years I just used to get drunk and I just used to watch people pick up, and then I'd go and try things and all of this. And one of the funniest things I realized, in every situation, okay, what makes you attractive is your confidence. Okay, and it's not so much your confidence in, oh, I'm the best looking person. No, your confidence in how good of a time you're having, and your confidence that, you know, you're enjoying yourself and you're enjoying the atmosphere and the time. So, you know, it's like if you can portray you are having the best time of your life and everyone around you is having an amazing time. So you're telling jokes, you're being, you know, you're moving, you're not rigid, you're quite flexible, you know, and you just chill, and you just chill in your own confident aura. That's the word, aura. And like it's the same in sales. So when you're having a good time speaking to prospective buyers and all of that, they're having a good time. So they're going to associate it as being positive. And if your product or service aligns to their needs, they're probably going to want to do business with you, or they'll tell you why they can't do business with you. So, you know, it's a funny thing because I had no confidence as a kid. Like, people around me, because of who I was and how I was, people always feel a need to bring me down and tear me down because I'm so high energy and like so sure of myself and sure in my decisions and beliefs. But also because I always go against the grain and question things. And like, yeah, when I was a kid until I was a teenager, like my confidence was destroyed. I was like so shy, like no self-confidence or anything like that. And then I just got sick of it. So one day I decided like I wanted to get into shape and get into bodybuilding. So like anything I do, I obsess about it. I have to do it like all the time. Like it just is. So like, yeah, after 6 months, I started seeing some really good results. And the thing is, you know, at that time I was doing martial arts as well. So when you have peak physical like fitness along with having, you know, martial art experience and things like that, you have a certain level of capability and competency that boosts your confidence and your ego. Because in any moment you're not in fear of, well, what happens if, you know, I say something or if, you know, how I act someone's offended by. Because if they choose to fight you, you know, fuck it, let's fuck them up. You know what I mean? Like, so, but the thing was is that, like, because of how negative it was in those days, in terms of the understanding, with what I was learning was a lot of the negative aspects of egotism and narcissism. So, like, you know, because, like, I was ripped and, you know, this confident, capable person and very attractive, you know, if you didn't like me, if you weren't attracted to me, well, fuck you, there's a problem with you, personally. Like, it's not with me. And that was the wrong way to look at it. And it sort of taught me, so, like, yeah, it was just sort of, as I've gotten older and I've had to work through those negative beliefs that I learned because of society, you know, and all the bullshit, all the fucking stupid dickheads that get into positions of power that just mislead and corrupt people. But, you know, like, for me, I never felt love when I was younger. I only ever knew infatuation. Like, my attention span wasn't long enough for love. So the way I looked at it was every girl was a new adventure. Like, to find out, like, who they were. I was in search of a specific person. So, you know, and I knew the likelihoods of meeting that person were quite low, so I sort of just had fun. But the problem is that the way I went about it was never bad. It was just like, I knew naturally exactly what to do and say to win girls' hearts. So, like, you know, sometimes I would just not tell them exactly how I felt. You know, it's not the worst thing, but, you know, it's not a good thing either, because, you know, I used a lot of girls, you know, not in a negative way, like, you know, they always had a lot of fun and it was always hard to break off. So, because of my ADHD and sort of how callous that used to make me, I used to be pretty rough on the breakup, you know, because I didn't want to have any girls stalk me, so I just used to basically say to them, look, it's done. And if they persisted on, look, I'd say, look, we weren't fucking friends to begin with, why the fuck would we be friends now? And then I used to pass their number to a mate and say to the mate, go text him how much of a wanker I am. Which, you know, it's not a good, like, it was never a good thing to do. And, you know, I've had to make my amends for that. But, like, yeah, it was just the cultures. And that's one of the things that I couldn't see was when I was younger was, like, I had to get out of society before I could break away from those cultural norms, you know, because that's how every guy would, well, not to that level, but like most guys were sort of treating girls like that. But essentially, it would be the most magical experience up until one day I'd say I'm out, and if you tried to continue on, I'd just say fuck off. And like, yeah, like, you know, it's rough because, you know, not karma, but like everything you put out in life always comes back to you. And that's one of the really beautiful aspects of it that I love is that, like, when I go through times where people, you know, mistreat me because their values don't align to my values and they don't value me, it's always funny because I get reminded of, like, how I used to be. And yeah, it's kind of, like, it sucks at times, but it's really nice and refreshing to get to experience the other side of it, because it gives me more appreciation for myself, in that, you know, while on my side, as soon as I said I was done, like, I didn't give a fuck. Like, I would not think of you again in my life. And, like, so for me, it was sort of, once I said I was done and I said that, like, I was out, like, nothing else happened. But now experiencing, like, similar, it's sort of, you understand the scale of the impact, which is, you know, I'm all for, like, whatever you dish out, you have to take back. So, like, if I was a cunt to girls when I was younger and I used them, like, I'll give you a story from, like, one New Year's Eve when we went to Airlie Beach, and this will sort of encapsulate who I was and how I was. So we were at Airlie Beach, me and my brother and his mates, and we went out, and there was this club, Magnums, and we went in there and we were pretty charged up. We'd been drinking all day on the drive down there, and we were getting ready to go out, and we get into the club, and my brother's mates go for drinks, and I look on the dance floor and there's this big group of 10 girls. So I walk over to them and then start dancing near them. And, you know, one thing leads to another, and I start grinding on one of them. And then we start making out. And we're dancing for a bit, and then she goes to the toilet. So me in my mind was, oh, well, she's gone on to the next one. So I started moving, like, I literally just moved to the next girl and then started dancing on her for a bit, and then making out. And then literally, you know, something happened and I moved on to the next one, and I literally go back, like, I go through all 10 of them around the circle. And the funniest thing is like, when I got to the last girl and I looked to the left and it was the first girl, I sort of realized what I'd done. And yeah, let's just say she did not have a happy look on her face, and, you know, I sort of looked back around to, like, all the girls, and yeah, they just looked so disappointed in me, and I sort of just didn't give a fuck. I was just like, oh well, looks like I'm not getting laid tonight, and then just turned around and moved on. Like, that's sort of how I used to be. I just act. Like, when I was younger, I just followed my instincts and did whatever felt right, or whatever I felt like I wanted to do. And yeah, it's so funny to look back on it now, because of, like, I you know, like, what would drive you to do something like that? But, like, for me, it's because I wouldn't think forward. I'm in the present moment, the present action. Like, I don't think about what's coming next. And yeah, that's how it used to be when I used to try and, like, pick up girls, is I just used to do all this random stupid stuff, hey? And majority of the times, like, yeah, it ended up with me going home alone and failure. And it used to be so funny, because they're the funniest times. It's the times where, like, I just cooked it. And that's why I have a Blink-182 tattoo, to always remind me that, like, no matter how, you know, good looking I may think I am, no matter how, you know, appealing I may think you know, my actions might be, I always suck with girls, and I fail more than I succeed. And it's just to remind me, you know, if if I ever try, like, think to get an ego, I just remember back to all the times that I've done the stupidest stuff. Like, yeah, it used to be so funny because, like, yeah, every week, like my life moves in such rapid speed that, like, every week I used to be in love with someone new. Because, like, for some reason or other, it didn't work out, or something happened, or I don't know. And, like, yeah, so, like, my friends would always, like, they'd never believe me on, like, you know, how many people I would date. Because it's just a numbers game, and, like, you know, what I always used to say back in those days was, if you want to bump your numbers up, you got to bring those standards down. You know, like, I just looked for people that were fun, people that, like, sparked an interest in me, and, you know, they look like, yeah, like they'd be fun in bed, and that was my goal, just to have wild sex, you know, to break girls. And yeah, no, it used to be fun. Like, that's pretty much all I did when I was younger. Like, I didn't really care about sports when I was like 18, 19, 20. Like, all I did was meet girls and have sex. And, you know, and I'm not like I don't have pickup lines. Like, I just used to go up to them and, like, well, back in those days, I just picked up through dancing. I didn't talk to girls before I slept with them. Like, so the funny thing is, like, I had a couple of, like, relationships where they went for a year or two, and when I came back out, man, I had lost all my, like, I had no idea how to talk to girls. You know, it's so funny because, like, when I was younger, I just didn't try, so I just talked to people, and there'd always be girls hitting on me when I, like, if I don't try and hit on a girl, she'll be super attracted to me. If I try and hit on her, yeah, no, I don't get it, but it's the law of my life, and it's always so funny. So, like, yeah, because I don't know, if I like a girl, I get stupid and do and say stupid things, like tell them I'm in love with them after like 2 or 3 days. Like, I don't know, I just be in flow, you know, be in the action. And yeah, it's so funny because it's sort of like a bit of a curse for me, is like, if I'm attracted to a girl, yeah, no chance we're ever gonna date. Because, like, I don't know, like, and it's so funny because, like it's all the things you value in a partner. So, like, what I've realized is, like, you pick and choose what you want. Like, you pick and choose what you're willing to accept. And, like, in my younger years, the things I was attracted to were genuinely from me. So, like, I was always picking and choosing people based on other people's, you know, likes or dislikes or their opinion. And yeah, it's why, like, I don't know, like, why they, like, when I look back on it now, every girl I've ever been into, like I'm not even attracted to them. Because, like, in all honesty, I'm attracted to people who are attracted to me. That's the number one thing that turns me on, is how attracted someone is to me. Because it's like, if someone's excited to be with you and they're like, you they can't wait to see you and all of that. Like, what is not more attractive than that? It's not that, like, I think I'm so great and people should love me. No, it's that, like, if someone's that into me, like, it's very attractive, And it's always so funny because of all the fucking bullshit thoughts of society and all those misleading beliefs. I used to push those people away and not value them, because we think of it as being desperate. But through understanding comes the ability to change action. So that's one thing that, like, no matter what happens to me in life, okay, like, I cannot be anything but happy with it. Because it's like, even if I've, like, I could tell you stories about how I have shot myself in the foot, cut my foot off, like, just gone ahead and dug a grave halfway to China, being stupid, trying to impress girls who fundamentally aren't, like, they don't like me. They just like me because of my looks, or they like me, because of other things that I do. But, like, they fundamentally, and it's so funny, because for so long I couldn't see that. All I could see was what was the fake desire that I'd created, or the fake reality that I'd created in my mind, that it had to be, that I had to be with this type of person. Like, it's so funny, because, like, man, dating's wild these days and so stupid, but, like, so many dudes are out there playing the field, but if you don't play the field, people disrespect you because there's no threat of you moving on. And it's like this adage, the adage, like, nice guys always finish last. And I've always wondered this because, like I'm a very nice person, and, like, when I like a girl, like, I just enjoy worshipping them, like, worshipping their body. Like, you don't understand, but they understand. Like, they understand what worship means, but it's pretty intense. But basically, like, I enjoy whatever they say, I'll do for them. If they ask me to go get it done, happy days, no stress. But they always take it as a weakness, and that I'm a weak person because I choose to give more than I get back, because I don't really care about getting anything back. Like, it doesn't bother me that much. It's sort of like working out. I don't work out to look good, I work out to exert myself. Like, looking good is just a byproduct. So like I don't love someone and worship them and, treat them at the highest level to get something back. Getting something back is just a result of me treating them at a high level. So, like, but the problem is because of societal beliefs and all the fucking bullshit going on in dating, a lot of girls think of it and see it as a weakness, that I'm some beta bitch. And the funny thing is, like, as much as I'm in love with you right now, if I'm in love with you, I could give a fuck if I don't think there's an opportunity with you. Like, I'll move on. Happy days. No stress. Like, shield G. Like, I don't understand that. Like, and the problem is like, a lot of girls, they fuck around. And they play games, and things like this. And it's sort of like, for me personally, I just, once something ends, it ends. I'm in constant motion. I'm always in flow. I always want to be moving forward. So once I make a decision to move on, like, she don't restart up. Like, I'm not where you left me. So it's always so funny because, like, I think to myself, like, and I get caught in this trap.